can you be real when you're made of wood?
You made me real.
The Twilight Zone didn't just entertain. It terrified generations with stories that burrow into your brain and never leave. From eerie whispers and vanishing doppelgängers to dolls with murder in their circuits.
Hello?
My name is Tony Tina, and I'm going to kill you.
Here are 15 chilling episodes of The Twilight Zone that still haunt you. 22. Death doesn't sneak up on Liz Powell. It stalks her through the same nightmare every single night in this season. 2 episode from 1961. Liz, a professional dancer hospitalized for exhaustion, is tormented by a recurring vision that grows more real with each recurrence. A cold hospital corridor, an elevator sinking into darkness. And at the bottom, in the doorway of the morgue marked Room 22, a sinister nurse with an evil grin whispers those 5 chilling words.
Room for one more, honey.
The videotape format boosts the unease, giving everything a grim soap opera haze that makes the terror feel uncomfortably real. Barbara Nichols sells every jolt of fear as Liz spirals deeper into panic, while her doctor chalks it all up to stress. But once Liz is discharged and heads to the airport, her nightmare steps into the real world. The flight attendant at the gate looks exactly like the nurse. She smiles, repeats the same haunting line, and Liz refuses to board. Moments later, the plane explodes on the runway. What makes 22 so unforgettable isn't just the premonition. It's the dreadful possibility that death sometimes gives you a warning you can't prove, can't explain, and can only hope you take seriously. The morgue, the nurse, that whispered invitation, they still live rent-free in viewers' minds decades later. Mirror image. Millicent Barnes is trapped in a waking nightmare that keeps unraveling her reality piece by piece. In Season 1, Episode 21 from 1960, she waits alone at a quiet bus station, hoping for a fresh start and a new job in Cortland. But everything around her starts to shift. The ticket agent accuses her of repeating herself.
In, that's all. I told you that the last time you asked, miss.
The last time I asked.
Her suitcase moves on its own. A restroom attendant insists they've already spoken. Something is deeply wrong and no one believes her. Directed by John Brom, this psychological, slow-burning tightens like a noose. The tension explodes when Millicent catches a glimpse of herself, or something wearing her face. Sitting outside the restroom with a chilling grin, a doppelganger from another dimension has crossed over, and there's only room for one. Vera Miles delivers a masterclass in rising paranoia as Millicent pleads to be heard. Paul Grinstead, a kind stranger, listens until the authorities drag her away, convinced she's insane. Meanwhile, her double calmly boards the bus in her place. Then comes the twist. Paul waits for his bus, but his suitcase vanishes. A man runs off with it, grinning ear to ear. Paul stares into his own face. The cycle begins again. And reality? It's just a suggestion in the Twilight Zone. The dummy. What happens when the thing that made you successful becomes the thing that destroys you? When your partner, your creation, the source of your fame, turns out to have a mind of its own? In Season 3, Episode 33 introduces us to Jerry Etherson, a talented ventriloquist performing in New York City nightclubs with his dummy, Willie. But Jerry has a problem that's tearing his life apart.
Now, wait a minute now, Willie. Just stay right here. I mean it.
He's convinced Willie is alive, not just animated during performances, but genuinely, terrifyingly alive. Willie bites him on stage, leaving real teeth marks only Jerry can see. Willie's voice follows him through the streets, and worst of all, Willie tells Jerry exactly what he plans to do with him. Cliff Robertson delivers an outstanding performance as a man spiraling into desperation. His agent Frank thinks Jerry's losing his mind, especially when the drinking gets worse and performances get missed. Jerry tries to escape, makes plans for a fresh start in Kansas City with a new dummy called Goofy Goggles. But Willie doesn't appreciate being replaced. In a moment of panic, Jerry smashes what he thinks is Willie in his dressing room. When he turns on the light, he realizes he's destroyed the wrong dummy. Willie's voice comes from behind him, laughing. The ending delivers one of television's most chilling twist finales. The curtain opens in Kansas City, and Willie walks onto the stage as a living, breathing man. On his knee sits a wooden dummy with Jerry's terrified face frozen in place. The old switcheroo is complete. Willie is the ventriloquist now, and Jerry will never speak again. The after hours, department stores are full of stillness, but sometimes that stillness feels wrong, as if the mannequins are watching from the corners of their glassy eyes. This episode takes that unsettling thought and pushes it into haunting territory, ensuring those figures never feel harmless again. Marcia White walks into a department store looking for a simple gold thimble as a gift for her mother. The elevator operator takes her to the 9th floor in this season 1, episode 34, classic from 1960.
So this is an express elevator, man. To the 9th floor. The others are all...
Which seems odd considering the store only has 8 floors. When she steps out, the entire floor is dark, empty, and completely barren, except for one thing: the exact gold thimble she's searching for. A strange saleswoman appears, calls Marcia by name, and sells her the thimble. But something feels deeply wrong about this encounter. When Marcia tries to return the dented thimble, the store manager insists there is no 9th floor. Then she spots the rude saleswoman from earlier, except now she's frozen in place. Because she's not a woman at all, she's a mannequin. After being locked in the store overnight, Marcia's nightmare truly begins. The mannequins start moving. Voices echo through the darkness calling her name. And when she's finally cornered on that impossible 9th floor, the truth shatters her reality completely. Marcia isn't a woman at all, but a mannequin granted a single month of humanity. When she stays out too long, her place in the display calls her back. That closing image of her wooden face, paired with Serling's question about the people we pass each day, leaves an unease that's hard to shake. The masks. Some families would kill for money. This one doesn't have to wait. It's Mardi Gras in New Orleans, and the toxic Harper family has been summoned to their dying grandfather's mansion. Not out of love, but because there's money on the line. Jason Foster knows exactly what they're made of. And in this season 5, episode 25 masterpiece from 1964, directed by the legendary Ida Lupino, he has one final test. They have to wear masks, grotesque, horrifying masks that reveal their true, ugly selves to the world. His daughter Emily is a whining hypochondriac who makes everything about herself. Her husband, Wilfred, is a greedy businessman who sees everything in dollar signs. Their daughter Paula is so vain that she literally greets her grandfather through a mirror reflection, and their son, Wilfred Jr., is a sadistic bully who enjoys causing pain.
Have you all had your say? Paula? Wilfred Jr.?
Jason sees through all of them, and he's crafted the perfect revenge. The masks, supposedly made by an old Cajun with mystical powers, are nightmarish caricatures: a sniveling coward, a twisted miser, a dull, stupid clown, a self-obsessed narcissist. The family must wear these abominations until the stroke of midnight if they want their inheritance. As the hours crawl by, their discomfort grows. They squirm, they complain, but greed keeps those masks firmly in place. Then, midnight strikes. Jason dies with a satisfied smile. The family tears off their masks in relief, only to discover the horror waiting beneath their faces have permanently transformed into the grotesque visages they've been wearing. The masks revealed their inner ugliness, and now they'll wear them forever. That final image of their distorted faces, frozen in shock and horror, delivers a chilling message about the monsters we become when consumed by greed and vanity. The new exhibit. Martin Lombardsenescu is a mild-mannered wax museum curator whose devotion to his work slowly curdles into madness. In Season 4, Episode 13 from 1963, directed by John Brom, Martin has spent 3 decades tending to Murderer's Row, a wax figure gallery of history's most infamous killers: Jack the Ripper, Albert W. Hicks, Burke and Hare, Henry Landru. They're his pride and obsession. When the museum shuts down to make way for a supermarket, Martin begs to preserve the figures in his own basement. He installs high-end air conditioning and begins talking to the murderers like old friends.
Ferguson, Landru needs a new suit. This one is 10 years old and it shows it.
Martin Balsam is brilliant as the man unraveling in silence. His wife, Emma, increasingly alarmed, tries to end the madness by turning off the cooling system. The next morning, she's dead, with Jack the Ripper's blade beside her, and the deaths don't stop there. As Martin descends further, the truth becomes undeniable. The wax figures aren't killing anyone. he is. In the final twist, a new museum features the updated murderer's row. Among the waxy killers, now frozen in silence, stands Martin himself, eyes wide, trapped forever inside his own obsession. Perchance to dream. Sleep is supposed to be a refuge, a safe haven where our minds rest and recharge. But for Edward Hall in Season 1, Episode 9 from 1959, sleep has become a death sentence he's desperately trying to avoid. Edward stumbles into Dr. Rathman's office, barely able to stand after 4 days and 4 nights without sleep. He's exhausted, trembling, on the verge of collapse. But he refuses to let his eyes close because he knows exactly what's waiting for him in his dreams. Maya, the cat girl, a seductive carnival dancer who appears in his nightmares like chapters of a twisted movie serial. She lights a cigarette, kisses him with deadly intent, and lures him through a nightmarish funhouse toward a roller coaster designed to terrify him to death. Richard Conte delivers an absolutely gripping performance as a man trapped between 2 equally lethal choices. Edward has a severe heart condition. If he falls asleep, the shock from Maya's final nightmare chapter will stop his heart. But if he stays awake any longer, the exhaustion will kill him anyway. It's a perfect Morton's fork, and there's no escape. The carnival sequences are pure nightmare fuel, shot in stark black and white that makes everything feel disorienting and wrong. Maya's eyes, her laugh, the way she moves through the shadows, all of it builds this suffocating sense of dread. When Edward tries to leave Dr. Rathman's office and sees the receptionist, he freezes. She looks exactly like Maya. The twist ending reveals the devastating truth. Edward never had that long conversation with the doctor. He laid down on the couch, closed his eyes for just a moment, and died. The entire episode was his dying dream. Night call. The phone rings at 2 in the morning. Static fills the line, then moaning, then a voice, distant and desperate, repeating the same words over and over.
Where are you? I want to talk to you.
Season 5, Episode 19 from 1964, directed by the legendary Jacques Tourneur, follows Elva Keane, an elderly wheelchair-bound woman living in isolated loneliness with only her housekeeper Margaret for company. Her days blur together in an endless routine of reading, medication, and waiting for something, anything to break the monotony. Then those calls start coming night after night. The voice grows stronger, more insistent. Elva's terror builds as the moaning transforms into coherent words. Always the same desperate plea. Gladys Cooper, in her 3rd and final Twilight Zone appearance, delivers a masterful performance as Elva's fear escalates into full-blown panic. She demands the phone company trace the calls. The answer they give her is impossible. A telephone line fell during a storm and landed on a grave in Valley View Cemetery, Brian Douglas's grave. Her fiancé, who died 30 years ago, a week before their wedding, was killed when Elva insisted on driving and crashed the car. Brian died instantly. Elva became paralyzed. Now that she knows who's calling, everything changes. Elva desperately wants to talk to him, to ease her decades of guilt and loneliness. She picks up the phone and calls out to Brian, begging him to answer. His voice comes through one final time, cold and obedient.
You said leave you alone. I always do what you say.
The line goes dead, leaving Elva crying in her bed, condemned to the permanent solitude she created for herself. The Hitchhiker. A cross-country road trip becomes a slow, creeping nightmare for Nan Adams in Season 1, Episode 16. What starts as a solo adventure from New York to Los Angeles unravels into something far more unsettling after a flat tire nearly costs Nan her life. The mechanic makes an offhand comment about how lucky she is not to need a hearse. Then she sees him, a pale, ragged man on the roadside, silently thumbing for a ride she drives on. But he keeps appearing. Virginia, New Mexico, a railroad crossing where she nearly dies. No matter how far she goes, he's already there, always watching, always waiting. Inger Stevens captures Nan's unraveling psyche with incredible restraint as paranoia consumes her. No one else sees the man, not the mechanic, not the sailor she picks up for safety. When she tries to run the stranger down, even he abandons her. The truth lands like a gut punch. A phone call to her mother delivers the news. Nan died in that Pennsylvania crash 6 days ago. She looks in her mirror one last time. The hitchhiker is beside her now. He smiles.
I believe you're going my way.
She's not running from death, she's just catching up. Living doll. Curious what occurs when a child's toy suddenly decides it hates you? In Season 5, Episode 6, delivers that chilling scenario with Talkie Tina, a doll that transforms harmless sweetness into genuine horror. Eric Streeter is drowning in his own bitterness. Telly Savalas brings this character to life with brutal intensity as a man who can't have children of his own, so he takes his rage out on his wife Annabelle and stepdaughter Christy. When Christy comes home with a new talking doll, Eric explodes over the money spent. The moment Christy winds up Talkie Tina,
My name is Talkie Tina.
the doll speaks her programmed greeting with mechanical cheerfulness. But when Eric is left alone with this innocent-looking toy, everything shifts. The voice turns cold, dripping with hatred. Tina tells him she's going to kill him.
And I'm going to kill you.
The psychological battle that unfolds is relentless. Eric tries burning Tina with a blowtorch, but the flames keep dying. He attempts sawing through her plastic neck, but the blade won't cut. He locks her in the garage trash can. Then the phone rings, and that chilling voice delivers her death threat through the receiver. June Foray's vocal work transforms this motionless doll into something genuinely terrifying. The ending strikes with devastating force. Late at night, strange sounds draw Eric into the hallway. At the top of the stairs, Tina waits in perfect stillness, that frozen smile gleaming in the shadows. He trips over her. The fall kills him instantly. When Annabelle finds his body, Tina's eyes open with one final warning.
You'd better be nice to me.
That cemented this episode as the ultimate killer doll story, inspiring everything from Chucky to Annabelle to M3GAN. Time enough at last. Henry Bemis is a man worn thin by a world that refuses to tolerate the one thing that brings him peace. In Season 1, Episode 8, from November 1959, we follow his suffocating routine as a timid bank teller whose love of books is treated as a transgression. His overbearing boss threatens dismissal for catching him reading on the job, and his wife Helen goes even further, destroying his treasured poetry book by blotting out every line. The cruelty surrounding him is steady, intentional, and crushing. Desperate for escape, Henry locks himself in the bank vault during lunch, stealing precious minutes with his books. Then the unthinkable happens. A blinding flash, a deafening roar. The vault shakes violently on its springs as nuclear fire consumes the world above. When Henry emerges, he stumbles into hell itself. Nothing but ruins, no voices, no movement. Every living soul has been vaporized. He's utterly, terrifyingly alone. The weight of total isolation drives him to the brink. Gun in hand, Henry prepares to end it all. But then, through the devastation, he sees salvation.
Time enough at last.
The library, still standing, books everywhere, thousands upon thousands, miraculously preserved and waiting just for him. Burgess Meredith's transformation from suicidal despair to ecstatic joy is devastating to watch. Henry frantically stacks his treasures, planning decades of uninterrupted reading. Finally, peace. Finally, time. Then his glasses slip. The sickening crack of shattering lenses echoes through the silence. Henry collapses, screaming at the cruel injustice. Everything he ever wanted, eternally out of reach. The most devastating twist ending in television history. The Invaders. Terror hits without warning. A loud crash on the roof breaks the quiet of a remote farmhouse. With almost no dialogue, Season 2, Episode 15 from January 1961 tells its story through the harsh sounds of fear, pain, and the desperate fight to survive. Agnes Moorehead gives a mesmerizing one-woman performance as a woman living alone in total isolation, without electricity or modern comforts, surviving only through the harsh simplicity of rural life. Her world is shattered when a small UFO crashes through her roof, releasing two short, spacesuit-clad figures armed with weapons that burn and injure, and they begin stalking her through her own home. The battle that unfolds is relentless and visceral. These creatures shoot at her with ray guns that leave searing welts across her skin. One steals her kitchen knife and slashes at her feet. Moorhead's performance is extraordinary, communicating pure terror through screams, grunts, and expressions of raw panic as she fights back with everything she has. She traps one invader in her bedsheets and beats it to death against the furniture. Armed with an axe, she climbs to the roof to destroy their ship. Then comes the voice. The surviving invader frantically transmits to Central Control, speaking perfect English. His partner Gresham is dead. The planet is inhabited by an incredible race of giants. Too powerful. Stay away. The camera reveals the ship's markings. U.S. Air Force Space Probe Number 1. The perspective shatters completely. The invaders were human astronauts from Earth. The woman destroying their ship is a towering alien we've been watching from the wrong side the entire time. To serve man. These 9-foot aliens arrive claiming they want to help, insisting they can end war, eradicate hunger, and provide humanity with unlimited energy. The Kanamits appear to be the greatest gift Earth has ever received. But then the twist in Season 3, Episode 24 from 1962 arrives, and it remains one of television's most shocking moments. Based on Damon Knight's 1950 short story and written by Rod Serling himself, the episode follows Michael Chambers, a cryptographer working at the United Nations. When the Kanamits arrive, they address world leaders with promises of prosperity and peace. They keep every single promise. Wars cease. Deserts transform into gardens. Everyone prospers. The Kanamits even invite humans to visit their home planet, describing it as paradise. Thousands eagerly sign up for the exchange program. Wade before boarding like livestock at a processing plant Chambers, and his assistant Patty work tirelessly to decode a Kanamit book left at the UN. They translate the title to serve man. It seems to confirm everything the aliens promised. When Chambers prepares to board a spaceship to the Kanamit homeworld, Patty finally cracks the rest of the book. She races to stop him, screaming the truth that's become one of TV's most iconic lines.
It's a cookbook!
Lloyd Bachner's final monologue, delivered from his locked room aboard the alien ship, is absolutely chilling. He breaks his hunger strike and starts eating, knowing exactly what fate awaits him, and every other human who trusted these benevolent visitors. Rod Serling's closing narration about mankind's evolution from ruler of a planet to ingredient in someone's soup remains devastatingly effective decades later. Nightmare at 20,000 feet. A simple flight home becomes a battle for survival in Season 5, Episode 3 from October 1963, where William Shatner delivers one of the most iconic performances in the Twilight Zone. Bob Wilson, recovering from a recent breakdown, boards a plane determined to stay calm and prove he's stable again. But the storm outside brings something far worse than turbulence. Through the rain-streaked window, Bob sees it. A gremlin on the wing, ripping apart the engine with its bare hands.
I won't say another word. I'll see us crash first.
Every time he calls for help, the creature disappears. His wife thinks he's unraveling. The crew thinks he's dangerous. Bob knows exactly what he's seeing, and he knows the plane is doomed, if no one believes him. Shatner's performance swings between forced calm and raw panic, perfectly matched by Richard Donner's claustrophobic direction. The gremlin's face presses against the glass, taunting him, daring him to act. With no other option, Bob steals a gun from a sleeping police officer, throws open the emergency exit mid-flight, and shoots the creature off the wing. The plane lands safely, but Bob is hauled out in a straitjacket, labeled unstable all over again. Then the camera pulls back to reveal the truth. Deep, vicious claw marks carved across the engine. Bob was right. He saved everyone, and nobody will ever believe him. It's a good life. Imagine a 6-year-old child with the power of God, and everyone lives in absolute terror of displeasing him. One wrong thought, and you're wished away into the cornfield, erased from existence, or transformed into something grotesque. This is Peaksville, Ohio, in Season 3, Episode 8, from November 1961, considered by many to be the most genuinely disturbing episode in Twilight Zone history. Little Anthony Fremont, played with unsettling perfection by child actor Bill Mumy, holds his entire town hostage through telepathic omnipotence. He controls the weather. He decides what appears on the only TV channel anyone can watch. He reads minds constantly, so no one can even think a negative thought about him without facing consequences beyond imagination. The adults move through perpetual frozen smiles, repeating their desperate prayer.
Oh, that's good. That's real good that you were looking at the cop.
When he makes it snow in summer, destroying their crops, they smile and call it wonderful. When he transforms a man into a jack-in-the-box, they applaud. The birthday party sequence delivers pure horror.
Monster, you. You dirty little monster. You murderer.
He transforms her into something with no mouth and sends her muffled screams to the cornfield. Then he demands everyone keep singing. And they do, with tears streaming down their faces. What makes this episode truly disturbing is the psychological torture of living under absolute tyranny, where survival means smiling while atrocities happen. Anthony will never grow up. The nightmare will never end. If this creeped you out, hit like, subscribe for more, and remember, the Twilight Zone is always watching.